Hey everyone, this video is going to be part 2 of my conversation with Stephen Ward. If you haven't checked out part 1 of my conversation with Stephen Ward, please do so. That video outlines what it takes to be a content creator in guitar in today's day and age. This video outlines his motivations in content creation, what it takes to sustainably create content over a long period of time, and how to keep yourself inspired and authentic in your journey in content creation. So without further ado, let's jump into that conversation with Stephen Ward. So what makes you happy when you make a piece of content?
It's if I can help somebody. Going back to an idea that I was talking about earlier, as far as like intrinsic motivation to create content, it's like my motivation is to help people realize their visions. So a lot of what I do is like, okay, here's how you make your guitar tones. Here's how you mix your drums. Here's how you light your videos, you know, the camera stuff. Like I want to be able to help people realize their artistic visions so that they can create more art more easily, you know, because a lot of the skills and things that I've learned over the past 3, 5, 6 years or whatever, like it took me a long ass time to learn it. And there was a lot of like, there was some paths that really were very windy and like took me a long time. And it was just like, then I'd find that one nugget of information that like made all of that like obsolete. You know, it's like, oh man, if I knew this 3 months ago, I would have saved myself so much fucking time. So then it's like, okay, well, I'm going to go and teach this to as many people as I can so I can take that entire 3 months out of their journey and help them get to their goals faster. Like I get like, to me, one of the best feelings in the world is being able to help somebody realize what they want to do. Like I used to teach guitar. Yeah. Right? And this is where I first kind of started out with this idea of like education. Because I picked up teaching guitar just because I was like, well, I play guitar and I could teach it, make a couple extra bucks. You know, originally the idea was just like, oh, I'll just teach it because it's going to be easy for me to make money doing it. You know, but then I realized I actually really enjoyed like that aha moment.
Yeah.
Right.
It's very rewarding.
It is super rewarding because then it's like, oh my gosh, like it wasn't that I gave you something. It's like I helped you realize you had something all along. You
empowered someone.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And to me, that impact, you know, pays dividends sometimes years after you do it. It just, there was a story, that I have, like, I worked in this guitar shop for a long time and we were right across the street from a middle school. So after school, the kids would sometimes come in and play the guitars, you know, so like, and, you know, kids are going to be kids and some kids would just be like banging on the guitars and, you know, whatever. And it's like, but I'd let them play regardless, you know, they're just having fun, you know, it's not harming the guitars and whatever. But I remember there was this kid who came over and he started playing guitar and he was playing Bourrée by Bach. And he was doing the right hand technique incorrectly. And now it just so happened I was learning the song around the same time. And I was like, oh, hey man, like, I see you're doing it like this, you know, maybe try doing it like this. You know, and I gave him the proper technique. And he was like, oh, cool, thanks, you know, and then he goes away. Like, and I don't think I really ever saw him after that. And cut to, God, probably like 6 years later, maybe 5, 6 years at least.
Holy shit.
I go out to a show of like a local Sacramento band, Flub. I don't know if you know Flub. But I went out to see them. At that time, I was in a band as well, so I wanted to go out and support as many of the local bands that I liked as possible. So I go out to this club, and I'm watching Flub play, and they're fucking phenomenal band. Progressive metal, kind of wacky, Between the Buried and Me, and like all sorts of like these really interesting aspects of music, and like pulling in all these different like genres and influences, and it's like it makes this really like interesting kind of brew. And I remember going up to the guitarist, Eloy, afterwards, and I was like, dude, fucking awesome, dude. You guys sounded great. It was amazing. He's like, oh, thanks, man. You don't recognize me, do you? And I was like, I say, what? Like, what's up? Like, he's like, yeah, man, like, I was a kid that went to Sutter Middle School, and like, Like I went into the shop and you taught me how to play Bourrée. And I was like, oh shit, that was you? He's like, yeah, man.
That's
like,
wild.
Learning Bourrée in that moment taught him to sit down and learn the actual techniques of playing guitar. And now he's one of the best like guitar players in Sacramento, I would venture. Like that's super creative, super passionate, and is just like, I mean, he's a phenomenal guitar player. And like I said, like it wasn't anything that I gave him. It was just that I like
a little
nugget, and that empowered him to then become this monster guitar player, you know. And it was really like, again, that sort of moment where I was like I didn't know exactly how to feel, because he's like, yeah, like it's kind of cool that you're out here, because it's almost like one of my guitar heroes is coming to watch me play. And I was just like, oh, how am I supposed to feel about that? Oh
yeah, it's like overwhelming and that's crazy, man.
The things, you know. And it was like I said, it's like you can have that impact on people's lives by just wanting to help them out along their journey. And it makes for a better community. It makes for a better world. Like it makes for
absolutely
anything better. Like I just, and that moment specifically was also very like, it's like clarifying to me, because I'm like, okay, cool. Like, you know, maybe I don't have aspirations to become like, you know, the next dude on stage playing music. Like maybe I'm cool with just like, you know, teaching and helping educate people. Like, and that's okay. Like if people love my music, that's awesome. You know, but maybe like the stage isn't what's for me, because at that time I was working like towards like building up a band and whatnot.
I see.
It's like, you know, doing some like, you know, some bigger like local stuff, but like, you know, that actually also kind of had an impact on me, I think, as far as like what I wanted.
It was like a crazy aha moment.
Yeah.
Because it was, I feel like at the time, the way you described the story, it's something you didn't think would like, it's not like you became a teacher to change the world.
Right.
It was like kind of like by circumstance, right? And then when you saw like what the reward is, that's when you're like, okay,
yeah,
this is where it's at.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's the best way to kind of like tie the conversation, like what's it take to be a content creator? Because that intrinsic reward is something that I think people are missing out on, or like miss the point on, rather. Because the hard thing for me to describe to a lot of people is it's the why and how we do this. Because when you do it in a sense of like, you just trying to capture followers, you're just trying to capture likes. And like, I'm guilty of that too. I know how to manipulate the system, I think, in fair ways. And sometimes, but like at the end of the day, like I'd like to think that I look like I'm having fun.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to like content for me, for some strange reason, it's always that it is fun to do it. And I want to like the goal and purpose for me in making content is just to show people that it's possible to do it. Because most of my life has always been like around people not believing that this complex, weird thing of making content is a lucrative thing that can help, like that can be a lifestyle, or it can be something that like can provide for a family, or like stuff like that. And I think showing people like, hey, you can do this too, and you can do it like this, and it can be a healthy way of, you know, taking care of people. That is also like a huge thing that I'm trying to like, I suppose, prove to the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
When it comes down to like making content for you, what are your personal goals coming into this year and next? I guess wrapping up this year and next.
Again, like I don't do well with goals, because again, that's not a near enough idea in my head that it becomes like important, salient, or just like it doesn't put that like fire under me to do the things, because I have to focus a lot more on like short-term ideas and short-term projects, because it's like, okay, I have this interest to do this video, I'm going to do it and see if it works. If I get that dopamine hit afterwards and like people love it, like
you're just going to run,
and I'm just going to keep doing it.
Well, I guess let me re-angle the question. When you were talking earlier, you said that extra gold nugget of information, that thing that was an aha. Do you have any like quick free ones you want to share that that really changed or unlocked things for you?
Always be ready to give away the keys to the kingdom. I see people wanting to learn. They're hungry to learn. And what's going to make you successful, what's going to make you, what's going to help your career out is to be as helpful as possible to as many people as you can reach. And there's a lot of people who can learn from what I do, and I'm always more than happy to give away this information freely. And if they want to support me in return, then that's awesome. And I feel like that's a much more sustainable model, and being open and honest with your audience is always going to net you that better reaction. That's always going to be much better in the long run.
Yeah, because you don't want someone who's watching your content to discover that you aren't who you made yourself out to be.
Absolutely.
And I think the first part, giving away the keys to the kingdom, I think that's absolutely powerful. I think it's weird. I think we're in a very pivotal time in the industry. Music, not to rag on the music industry, but I feel like the music industry is always the last to embrace a certain thing. I don't know what it is, why it is, but I feel like the more people have given the keys to the kingdom, I mean, it empowers a lot of people, but at the end of the day, it's still the people who are going to work and try the hardest with those keys who are actually going to inherit the kingdom. And to be honest, I think there's enough of it to go around.
Absolutely. And on top of that, the reason why you do it is not so somebody can steal your style. Right?
Yeah.
And obviously there's probably going to be some people who look at my videos and go I'm going to use exactly what he does to light my videos, and that way it'll look good. It's well, I stole my lighting from other people's videos too. I mean, that's just the way that things are done, There's nothing special about that. But here's the thing, you give away your secrets so that people can learn from what you do, and then they can build off of that. They can take elements of what you do and build it into their own system and create something new and interesting. And then you can learn from that as well. It's just reciprocal systems.
I think I heard this at the summit. There's two things. One, you can give people the keys, right? And you can give them all the tools you need. You can give them all your presets, all your settings. You can give them your studio. You could give them your camera. You can put someone right here. It's what they do with it is what's going to be the impact.
Yes.
I could come here right now and write probably one of the sickest sounding records, because you have wonderful tools and a wonderful well-treated room and all the resources. And I could talk to the camera, but that requires me knowing what people are going to respond to. And I could emulate you, but like you said, if I'm not genuine, then what's the point?
That's it. I think that's the best note to leave off on is just be genuine, try your best, do the work, ship your products. It's put out your videos, put out your songs, make the content, but always, always, always be genuine.
Stephen Ward, everybody, is there anything you want to say? Plug yourself.
So I have a YouTube channel. It's The Real Stephen Ward. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. I think The Real Stephen Ward or The Real Steve Z. Those are generally my tags, because there's a lot of Stephen Wards out there, and I'm the only one. I'm the real one.